find it hard to deal with. But these are the critical languages, whether or not they're through Twitter feed or new forms of music and performance, that are really making us think about how to listen to those voices we haven't listened to. And if we don't take seriously that engagement with youth right now globally around injustice and finding new ways to take, whether that's through writing or visual arts or slam poetry or what have you, then we're really all lost as a species. So thanks for making us think about it.
I would like to mention that on Wednesday at noontime in front of the Japanese embassy, there is a regular demonstration, as I said before. In the beginning, that opening and the movement was organized by established social organizations, women's groups, church groups, and so forth. However, in these days, the composition of those participants has changed quite a bit. A lot of young people, even elementary school, middle school, high school, and college students attend. And they know what is Comfort Women, why they are there, and learning something. So when I look at those scenes and look at the Japanese history, historical revision project pursued by many different segments of society, I feel like that Japan, under current administration, is in fact pushing a history illiteracy program. Japanese people do not know about their war history. I experienced that even on campus. Some of the international students from Japan, they would be surprised to hear about the Comfort Women or Nanking and those incidents. Some said, I'm sorry. So I said, you don't need to say sorry, and I comfort them. But it is for the first time that I know comfort term is used in many different ways, okay? And I just wonder if current Japanese youth are not learning about their dark history, whether you like or not. Others, global community, are learning about that. Look at the people here, right? So over time, there will be a widening gap. And I wonder whether Japanese rightist people really want to make Japan a pariah island in the global educational community. I know this is a harsh term, but that's what I feel like. They are isolated. And I think the youth education is very important through this kind of session. Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question, but I just want to add, as we kind of conclude here, in thinking about the history of this important issue and the horror and the reality, I think what I want to leave you thinking about, particularly in regard to your question, this last question, what can we do today? How can we continue to educate young people? I think one important issue that we need to think about is the continuation of sexual slavery today. This is not an issue of the past. This did not end in World War II. We estimate today there are approximately between 27 and 30 million enslaved people in the world today. And many of those people are sexual slaves. And so I encourage you to get educated and get active in the current anti-slavery movement. There is much work to be done in recognizing the past, but in getting involved today, because this is not just a thing of the past. You can do something today, not be a spectator, but actually be a participant in ending slavery today. So I really encourage you to think about that. And I'm involved with an anti-slavery organization. If you want to know more, I'm happy to talk to you. And I don't want your money at all. Your time, yes. Does someone have a question?
Yes, I guess I do. I have several questions, but okay.
We just have one. I just want to say, I'm going to end us in 4 minutes, so make it brief.
Yeah. I teach a class on youth, a class on changing generations, and in this last winter quarter, when we were talking about Article 9 and debating historical issues and things like that, one of the things that I asked the class, I asked actually one of the American students is, how would you feel about the history claims in Japan is that if young people know their history, they will hate their nation. Right? So there was an American national, an American-born girl in the class who said, I don't want to know that history, I would hate my nation. And I think one of the things that didn't come up tonight that was unfortunately disturbing for me when Devinder was talking about Igarashi's book or something is the role of the United States in the American occupation of Japan. When the United States occupied Japan, what was that moment? Was that a moment to talk about some of these things? How did it not get talked about? Because one of the problems we're having is encountering voices that have been suppressed by a range of nations at a range of moments. So one of the things I felt when I went to Seoul for the first time was U.S. role in all of this. And I don't think that, that came up tonight, and
That's such an important intervention. I mean, and it goes, of course, to jobs. I mean, there was a seamless transition, as we know, from World War II to the Cold War, which then makes Japan, and especially Okinawa, as the privileged, sort of floating airbase for containment of the Soviet Union and China, means that there was not even anything. For all the problems with the denazification program, there wasn't anything happening. And we still live with those implications today. Being so close to it. But all this
what we
certainly,
need to do is all teach our histories.
yeah, and certainly
Right?
when we were,
And they should all be available, and they should all be in conversation with each other.
we're sitting here tonight on land, seated Yakima land, and we should all be mindful of a long history of genocide and imperialism in this country.
Did you have a quick?
Very quick.
Barry?
I'm an instructor of Native American Studies here at Civilian Community. So basically the class I teach are all about imperial power,